folks. Welcome to another episode of Rimshots with Sean Brecht, brought to you by Barstools and Bandtalk. I'm going to tell you, this lady, I didn't tell her this beforehand. She's been one of the most requested interviews on our show. Just sharing that with you now, not to put you on the spot. The lovely, the talented Miss Lorraine Lewis. How are you?
Oh, I am so good, Sean. Thank you so much. And Rimshots, thank you so much for having me. I'm stoked to be here, and I'm flattered that people give a flip about me. Thank you so much.
Well, it's funny because I saw your signature in your email, and you've got a lot of stuff. And then you go and you Google your name, and it says singer, but then you go on, and you're a whole. I didn't introduce you as the lead singer of Vixen because you get a ton of other stuff on the go. How do you find the time to do what you do?
All of my dogs have passed away. No, I am just loving life and living life, and just I am just nonstop 24/7. I feel like I'm a teenager, to be honest with you. And I just turned 64 on Monday, and whatever, it does not matter to me. I am just not going to stop. I'm just going to keep rolling and going. So yes, life is good.
Well, 64 looks great because it looks like you're having a great time. And you guys, I'm catching on what appears to be a rare weekend off. I've never seen a band that's so active and has so much on the go.
I know we have been so busy this year. COVID obviously took everybody out, and that's the last time I'm going to mention COVID because I'm so over talking about it at all. But then things started gearing up again. 2021, it was really good. I think we did like 18 dates, and then this year has been off the charts, and there's so much more coming for 2023. So really excited about that. Super excited.
Anytime that I get somebody that, and I grew up in that genre of music. I mean, I was the Motley Crue, Femme Fatale, all that. That was what I grew up on. And out here in Halifax, Nova Scotia. Why do you think this music had such? We went through the grunge phase where it sucked to be successful and whatever, but now it just seems like this music has never been so popular. Why do you think that is?
I think that it resonates with people. It's like it's our soundtrack to our lives. The 80s were effing amazing, and it's the soundtrack for us. I mean, look, I can tell by the way that you're dressed and how hella cool that you are. You're an 80s guy. I love that. I love 80s people. But the whole thing that is really exciting is that there are younger people as well latching on. I mean, we have so many young fans at the shows. I have so many young people following me on Instagram that don't really know my history. So it's really, really fun to connect with them. I'm kind of getting chills just talking about it because seriously, I meet so many young people that just have an idea, glimpse of what we've done. And then they start to dig more and more and more, and they find out more about my history and Vixen's history. I mean, Vixen's been around a long time. Yep. So it's really exciting to have these new fans, but there's something about the 80s fans that they're family, they're our tribe. We relate to them, they relate to us. I mean, we all kind of dress the same. We all kind of have the same fashion sense, and we all would love for big hair to be bigger than life and be back 24/7. But there's just something that connects us, and I think it's the music. It all comes down to the music and the great tunes and dreaming about coming to the Sunset Strip and Hollywood and all of that. And I think people are hungry for that again, even though we put it away, 34 years ago it's been. And I think people just still have that hunger for it, and it's really exciting.
Well, it is. I had the opportunity last night. We a couple of friends got together and played a little cover show, and we were doing a Bon Jovi tune, and the audience was university kids. They were all singing along, and my first thought was, all these kids have parents that are my age, and they grew up on that music as well, right?
Yeah, I think you're right. And I don't have children. I've always just had dogs, so I can't 100% relate to that concept. Which is why I didn't mention that, but you're absolutely right. I mean, there are so many moms and dads that bring their kids to the shows, and it's kind of a family affair, and that's really exciting to see. So absolutely. You're spot on with that. You're absolutely right.
So I mean, the other thing too, and I mentioned how many different things that you're doing, and we'll get to Vixen shortly, but so I'm not a big reality TV guy. Never really have been. Have not watched a single episode of The Voice or American Idol or whatever. Happened to be channel surfing one night, and I see this show. It's like, I recognize a couple women on the show, and where do I recognize it from? And it was a little show called Ex-Wives of Rock. And lo and behold, I see the credits, and there's Lorraine Lewis, and I'm like, what a neat concept. How did that come about? What, you had a two season run roughly with that show?
No, we had a 3-season, 54 episode run, which
Nice,
really, when you break it down, that's equal to 4 seasons.
nice.
Very, very exciting. And it really all began because my co-creator with me, my co-business partner, former co-business partner, she wanted to write a book about me. She thought my life was exciting. So I don't think it's really that exciting, but she really thought it was, because she's a mom, she has kids, and she just always thought, oh my God, Lorraine has lived a life. So she was writing a book about me. And I just got the bug for reality TV. I was like, how hard could it be, is really what I thought. And so I kind of channeled the book towards rock and roll and the idea of ex-wives of rock. Originally, Roxy and I, we were trying to put something together 5 years before Ex-Wives of Rock. We were calling ourselves the Desperate Housewives of Rock, because I wanted to get something going, because we felt kind of desperate, like we, married and like this and that. And we just kind of wanted to be us, the 80s versions of ourselves. So that's kind of where that concept developed. And then one thing just led to another. We started interviewing people for the show. It started with Bobby Brown. I was watching MTV one night and she popped up on some show and I was like, that's our first ex-wife of rock. We got to talk to Bobby Brown. And then from her, we went to Charisse Neal. I mean, they're all friends, so this wasn't like bullshit friendship that you put together for a TV show. These girls have history and it just made sense. It was so really easy to do because you couldn't write the shit that was going on at the time. It was wild. So super, super fun. And then out to Marty Callner. I don't know if you're familiar with that name, but he's a very famous video producer. He did the Whitesnake videos with Tawny rolling around on the Jaguar. And he's always been a really close friend of mine, even though we haven't spoken in years. He did the Femme Fatale, Waiting for the Big One, and Falling in and Out of Love videos. And I have mad respect for him. He also had a show, or has a show, on HBO called Hard Knocks. It's about the NFL. That's Marty Callner. So when we were developing this idea, I was like, okay, I'm going to make a list of all the famous people I know. And I reached out to Marty. Marty was one of the top at the list. And I reached out to Marty and he was like, let's do it. So he's the one that got the ball rolling with filming. And then eventually we parted ways because it wasn't turning into what my vision was. And so we parted ways. We teamed up with a production company out of Toronto. And I mean, the rest is history. What a wild, fun ride.
It was, I liked, again, not reality TV, but I mean, I just find with reality TV, there's a tinge of, oh yeah, this is kind of a little bit going for the salacious, whatever. But to me, I got the feeling that, maybe there was a little bit of stuff going on, but it was really, you're just following those ladies around and kind of capturing what was taking place.
Their lives were amazing. And look, I mean, I work in television. I've been in television for 7, 8 years now, and I know what an audience wants, and they do want to be entertained. And sometimes, I mean, you have to have some kind of drama. You have to have some kind of story. No one wants to watch a normal, great little relationship, boring, boring, boring. And we all know, because we've lived a long time, our lives are not boring. Your life is not boring, Sean. I mean, you've had drama in your life. So if we brought cameras into your life, I'm sure that there would have been moments that would have been like, oh, holy shit. You know what I mean?
There last night, Lorraine.
You know what I mean? It's like, it's still going. So, it's just how life is. And look, you're either a TV person and don't have a problem being unfiltered and letting people see your life, or you're an observer. So there's 2 types of people. It's kind of like the Britney Spears song, right? Circus. Like there's 2 kinds of people in the world, ones that entertain and ones that observe. And that's what it comes down to. And these girls were so entertaining and so great on camera, but they were just themselves. And there were times when things got intense, things got wild, and it was real. And I mean, I remember when Charisse broke up with her boyfriend, Brandon, and she called me as a friend. Charisse and I are like this. She actually just dropped off some birthday gifts for me today. Right. I love Charisse. So she called me as a friend to tell me what had happened with Brandon. And I listened to her, and I was her friend through it all. And then at the end of the conversation, I said, Charisse, we need to film this, right? And she was like, oh, I know. no, we do. And she asked me though, she said, can we have a closed set? Can we please just have like one camera, not the whole crew? Like, this is really hard for me. And so we obliged her, and we just made it really safe for her that she could tell her story in a way that was her and authentic. And I mean, a lot of tears were cried, you know, because it's real life. It really was real life. And, you know, some of the shows, I'm sure they really, really throw the alcohol on the whole situation to have it explode. We didn't do that. I mean, there was already alcohol. So we didn't have to push or try. We just had to film and be kind of handhold the girls and have them feel safe enough to trust us. And in the end, after it was all said and done, I mean, they would have it back in a second. I mean, they have told me so many times that was some of the best years of our lives that they experienced. So,
Well, what I liked about the show, and I mean, this is no just because you're here, you kind of see people through like this thing, but you don't really see them. And I shouldn't have been, but I was blown away how sharp and savvy these ladies, especially you mentioned Charisse. I mean, she came across to me as one super sharp cookie, you know, business on the go, you know, and obviously tragedy in her life and different sorts of things. But she super impressed me a lot. She just came across as just a super, super sharp woman.
she's super smart. She's super hot. She's got the best ass you could ever see walking away from you, other than Roxy Petrucci, by the way.
Fair enough.
Roxy has the best ass in rock and roll. I always tell her, God, I hate it when you leave, but I love watching you walk away. So, I mean, I love Charisse so much, and she is such a great friend. And, you know, we have history, you know, we have history, a lot of stuff. And she's a girl's girl. I'm a girl's girl. We're really tight. Like I said, she was just here today. She's actually one of the biggest reasons I bought a place in Palm Springs is because she is savvy and she is a businesswoman. And she was like, look, if you're going to be purchasing something, there's a big auditorium that they're building out here and da da da. And so I did. And that's where I'm staying right now. And it's awesome. So yeah, Teresa, amazing. Athena, wild ham of a girl, smart. You know, Athena is actually a nurse now.
Oh, really? Well,
yeah, she's a traveling nurse. I mean, she had that in her history. A lot of people don't know that. Smart as well. That people kind of just sort of see this rock and roll chick with her, but no, she's hella smart. So she's in surgeries, working in hospitals all over the country. Amazing. Bobby, I haven't talked to in a while. Bobby is Bobby. Bobby will always be Bobby Brown, the cherry pie girl. And I love her, and she brought so much to the table. And then Blue Dixon, I haven't talked with her in quite a while. I don't really know what her life is like right now, but the four of them together was magic. It was fire, it was ice, it was magic.
Yeah. I agree. I'm going to end this segment, but I have one question to ask you just on the casting part. So it's been my experience that a lot of people who work the other side of the business like you're doing have done something and then they kind of get out of it and they do it as another thing. You're doing this, but you're also still performing. Do you find maybe that helps you in that job a lot?
Well, it does in a lot of ways, and I'll tell you why. Well, two things. My Instagram with 27,000 people got hacked on September 3rd, unfortunately. So I have lost all of that. So I'm building back. I started over. Trust me, I went through a lot. I spent a lot of money trying to get it back. I was approached by the dark web. I was approached by people that were trying to sell me my account back. I mean, I've really been through it. And basically, I loved having that Instagram account because it gave me legitimacy when I would reach out to people for a show. So I'm having to build that back. But yes, absolutely. Rock and roll and TV business, this all helps me. It all helps me relate to people or have people go, oh, wow, not only is she a TV producer, but she sings in a rock and roll band. That's kind of cool. And they'll usually take a phone call with me if I message them because of that. Because they'll look through my Instagram and they're like, this is wild. This is interesting. And then they maybe Google my name or they Google the company that I work for, and it just gives legitimacy. So yes, I think being in the music business helps me. And plus the fact that I'm not afraid to talk to anybody because
I'm getting that.
Yeah, I don't like, I will talk doesn't matter. I'm never afraid to pick up a phone. And if I have a big task to do that the company wants me to do, I do it. And I just did it a couple days ago, as a matter of fact.
There
So,
you go.
yeah.
And if you're ever looking for like a Sons of Anarchy character #7, biker #7, I'd like to audition. I think I'd have a good shot at it.
Okay, I think you would too. I'm writing that down. I'm writing that down.